You don't have to be joyful for everything, but you can always choose when you notice yourself in a downward spiral. That's okay. And notice it, allow it, and get it out. And then you can say, okay, I processed that. I'm going to choose now to find a moment of joy or peace or love.
Welcome to the Lara Jane Layton Show. This podcast is for you, the person who keeps putting others first. Your self-talk has held you back. You no longer need to take a second seat. Let's explore ways to overcome self-doubt. You can silence that inner bully voice and achieve your full potential. Here's your host, Lara Jane.
Welcome to the show, friend. We have my best friend, Nicole, with us. And yes, she's been on the show a few times. And I'm so excited because I love talking to her. And today we are going to talk about a word I've always had a hard time even really knowing what it is. But I use it because it's one of those words you grow up hearing. But joy. And not only just joy, but audacious joy. And what is that? And how can we feel it? And how can we appreciate it? And all these magical things Nicole's going to help us learn. But before we get started, we're going to get a quick word from our sponsor when we come back. Help me have audacious joy enough that I appreciate it. We'll be right back.
This is Adam Adams, co-founder of Optimized LLC, where we take the guesswork out of your health. If you're feeling exhausted, struggling with weight, or just not feeling yourself anymore, your hormones might be the problem. And that's why we test, not guess, analyzing your blood work to pinpoint exactly what's holding you back. At Optimized LLC, we help you rebalance your hormones, boost energy, and reclaim your life. Don't settle for normal. Aim for optimized. Just go to optimized.com to book your free introductory coaching call. It's a free call to help you take the first step toward feeling your best.
All right, Nicole, let's do this. I'm excited. I guess this is a new book of yours that you've written about. And so I'm really excited. Let's do this.
Awesome. I'm excited to be here and to share about joy and audacious joy.
I love it. So what is joy? What's your definition of joy?
So it's interesting over the past, I guess 20 years really is where I started to tap into the feeling of it, but I didn't have words for it initially. When I describe joy and even through this book and the strategies and the tips, it is a feeling, like it's a feeling, and I would call it most closely connected to gratitude and love. It's would be the closest kind of feelings or frequencies. Oftentimes when people say joy, they kind of think of the bubbly, upbeat, excited, joyful, version of that, which is a version of it. And that is one way it shows up. But as I describe it through the book and in my own life experience, joy is this inner state, and it comes from gratitude, peace, and love. And it can sometimes show up bubbly and upbeat, and other times it shows up as calm and grounded. It's an inner state. So
I like that because, it's when you feel that everything's okay. And I'm thankful for the state I'm in right now and not trying to change the whole world and just being okay with where you're at. What a content, positive, peaceful, calm feeling that can be. I mean, I can think of all these other words to help my brain try to understand it. But it's like, when do I know that I'm in it? I was like, I can be peaceful and calm and happy and content. And is that moment joy?
So I also want to separate joy from happiness. And happiness is, and I think this will answer what you're saying. Happiness is more a reflection, a feeling that you get as a reflection of an external circumstance. So when something good happens in your life, when you achieve something or accomplish something, or you get something, those are moments where I would describe that as happiness. It's a short feeling that comes externally, not necessarily long-lasting, enduring. And those are great. It's great to feel happy when happy things happen. I was happy to be here this morning, right? Just there's lots of goodness in that. It's just more of an external reflection, and happiness fades. Happiness doesn't last. It's more of a temporary feeling, an experience, whereas joy comes from the inside regardless of your circumstance. So you can be in a circumstance where I didn't achieve the thing thought I was going to achieve, or I lost what I thought I was going to get. Like you can actually have an even what society would define as negative. You can choose whether it's good or bad, but you could be in a circumstance that maybe society would define as negative, and still tap into a feeling of joy, because joy is an inner state that you can have a moment of peace and, like you said, acceptance, or um, and it is also a frequency. So Dr. David R. Hawkins, he wrote a book called Power versus Force, and he has this frequency scale, and they can measure the actual state of your body. Like if you're excited, your body is vibrating. I don't know how you would exactly describe it, but it's in a high frequency. When you're depressed or sad or angry or apathetic, it's much lower, right? Like you could actually measure your body's state. And Dr. David R. Hawkins talks about joy and love and gratitude, like I mentioned, are all three at this peak, at the right near the very top of the highest states of frequency. And and so that's why it kind of
It's a great book. It was one of those books that you just go, I like this. Like, I mean, I'd heard about frequencies and, understood them before, but I think if I remember right, it's one of his doctoral theses. And I had to pause and look up a lot of words because
yeah,
I wasn't at that level of intelligence. Well,
yeah, very
education,
deep science.
but very worth a read. But what you explained about the difference of happiness and joy just gave me that first, okay, now I get it. Because I've always thought they were more synonyms. Um, and people would drive me nuts when they go, I'll be happy when I get a raise. I'll be happy when I'll be, why wait? Why why put your contentment and your joy for life in a package of when this happens, I will be this. And so now it makes sense. It's that same thing just built internally instead of on external rewards.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when I refer to audacious joy and living audaciously joyful, and I even in my subtitle talk about being unshakable happiness, because what I mean by that is joy. Joy is this that circumstance isn't what's controlling my inner state. I'm choosing, and I often write choose joy, right? I can choose to find versions of joy in every moment. You don't have to be joyful for everything, but you can always choose. If you when you notice yourself in a downward spiral, that's okay, and notice it, or allow it and get it out, and then you can say, "Okay, I processed that. I'm gonna choose now to find a moment of joy or peace or love." Like, and, it's a choice, whereas, typically happiness comes from external circumstances. You can still choose to view things differently, and it's a little bit trickier.
Well, and I like the choice because we always have choice. I can choose to complain about this, or I can choose to find what it's building. And, if you reflect, some of my worst moments that at the time I didn't know if I could survive, didn't know if I could do anything, ended up giving me the most benefit later in life. And you go, oh, thank you. There's that one moment that taught me how to stand on my own 2 feet and not rely on everybody else. Whew, thank you. That wasn't easy to go through. But when you can look back and be thankful for those things that made you kind of hurt, it's like going to the gym for leg day and not being able to walk for 2 days. It can be tough, but you benefited. It's like, what is the benefit? What's that fortune I'm getting from what other people would call that unfortunate event?
Yeah, and that is really, really one of the keys, is to know that life is happening for you, not to you. And when we, our friends notice that and start to say, okay, wait a minute. Even this really terrible, seemingly terrible circumstance, if it is happening for me, in fact, even if I can't see why yet, I can trust that there is a reason.
There's some really awful things that happen in this world. And it's hard to say, well, it's for you. But at the same time, it's may not have been pleasant. It may not have been, it could have been evil, but there is something you can gain from it. And I know that person who's been trafficked and abused and is going to have a hard time saying, I gained from this. But I've read a few books of people that have come out of those kind of situations and the strength that they have now. And just, wow, I'm thankful I didn't have to go through that. But
Mhm,
some people are thankful for those experiences.
mhm.
That one happened for them.
Yeah, and you see it maybe many years later, right? Tony Robbins does share that as well, like, some of the trauma that his life experienced that has made him now care so deeply about helping others not live through those similar circumstances. So, like, it has now influenced millions of people positively around the world by and he will verbally say that, I'm not speaking on his behalf. He says that that trauma, that childhood was what actually led him to be and show up as the version of him that he shows up as today. So whether you like him or not, that he is making a positive impact and using his challenges for a greater purpose. And the more that we can go through life and truly see that and believe that, even if we don't feel it all the time, it's just, you some days you're like, "I do not feel it. This is not happening for me," and that's okay too. You don't have to feel it at all moments, but just knowing that you can come back to that, and you can say, "Okay, today I am gonna choose to feel to be brave. I am gonna choose to see the good in this. I am," and just every
Yeah.
day you get a new chance.
And I liken it to the weather. It's going to be sunny a lot. But if it was always that way, we would be a desert.
Mhm,
It takes the rain, it takes the wind, it takes all these other parts of the weather to make our perfect place that we live. And that's kind of our insides. We need the rainy days, we need the windy days, we need the cold days, but we get to cherish the times when we aren't having to stay inside and hide. Let's get out and let's play. And that's where, you can have that joy where you go, you know, I get a rest today. It's okay. And embrace it. When we fight it, that's what's so hard.
mhm. It's interesting, just a week or 2 ago, the words just kinda came out of my mouth. I was talking to my son, he's 10 now, and I was kind of joking, but I said, "Hey, do you think the sun's gonna come up today?" It was 6:50 AM, it was still dark here, it's because it's winter. And like, "Do you think the sun's gonna come up today?" And I was kind of kidding, like, "The sun comes up every day," I was curious how he was gonna respond to this, and he said, "Yeah, I think so." And it had been really cloudy for several days and gloomy and cloudy for several days. Um, but I said, "Yeah, of course it is. The sun comes up every day. Sometimes it's cloudy, so it still feels dark, but it's always there." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that would be such a great quote on a line." Like, but it just had the impact for me to remember the sun is always there. Sometimes it's hidden behind the clouds. When in the daytime, the sun comes up. Unless the universe changes, we will always have sun in the day and darkness and the moon at night.
You
And,
know, and
you
it's
can
there at
always see
night
it
too.
that way.
We're just have our backs towards it.
Yeah.
The sun does not go away. We do.
Mhm, mhm,
We choose to turn our backs. We choose to put in those cloudy days. We choose the rain. The sun doesn't leave. And that's why I love sunflowers, they always face the sun. And when it's too cloudy, and I've looked this up, and some people say it's true, and some people say it isn't. But when it's cloudy, they face each other and they turn to each other for that vibration of, I'm not alone. And how beautiful that would be for people too. It's like, oh, it's a cloudy day. I'm going to turn to my friends.
mhm. That's awesome. I love that. That's a beautiful perspective on that. Awesome. Well, I have some thoughts on like I have this acronym that I sometimes share with different concepts about cultivating more joy.
Oh,
Um, if that's
yes.
actually
I love acronyms. Let's do it.
yeah. Well, it's called glow. So that's just lovely, right? Tapping into the glow within you, your glow. I call it the glow framework, GLOW. And G is gratitude. No surprise. I know we did a show previously where we really dove into gratitude and the 3 levels of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the foundational vehicles or tools that we can use to tap into more joy because it's right beside joy on the frequency scale. So gratitude, and then the L stands for lightness, and it's kind of through play and fun and not taking life so seriously all of the time. Um, the O is for openness, and that's a also a way of being. It's about being open and unattached, right? Not being attached to your way of doing things or the way things are supposed to be or should be, and actually being able to be open and kind of this whole perspective we're talking about of life is happening for me, not to me. Like just this idea of actually opening your mind and hands to a different perspective. And the W is words, which is one of my very favorite topics, is the power of words and how the words you choose shape your reality. The words you're saying are a reflection of your current beliefs and the words you choose. So we could tap into a few of those things if you'd like and give a couple tools. But those are all concepts that I cover kind of in the book in different places to help people tap into more of that true deep joy, not just the surface level happiness.
Yeah, words to me is just that buzzword. Like, they light me up because I've spent years reframing the way I speak, not just going off the cuff. Sure, I still do it, but it's that conscious. And if I say it wrong, fortunate's one of them. If I can look for the fortune in what I'm doing, then I'm not always, oh, it's just lighter, it feels better, and so that one, like, really is cool to me.
Mhm.
Openness, oh, wow, yeah. Being open to change, being open to allowing other people their path, being open to, just life in general's experience and lightness, yes. Don't let it all weigh you down. Oh, but gratitude, that is something I like to practice consistently, and it just kinda melts in with all the others, so, I did them backwards because words are my favorite to focus on because 'cause they're easy to know to feel the difference, kinda like, the power of force. When you start using the word love instead of hate, it feels different. When you start using these more positive, and when I say positive, I more energetic words, feel it.
Yeah.
So, why not embrace it?
No, it's interesting. It's just this thought made me think of I was talking to a client the other day. She's working on a vision statement and like was we obviously having goals and vision are also important, even though that's not in the glow framework. And the words, some of the words she put at the end of her vision was nothing is impossible, which is sounds inspiring and good. And it's a choice. There's not exactly a right or wrong in most
Yeah,
cases.
but I woulda changed it.
Yeah, well, I invited her to consider saying anything is possible or everything is possible instead of nothing is impossible. Because now you're saying repeatedly, because with your vision, like I typically recommend saying it often all the time, memorizing it. It's just so you're constantly have a clarity of direction. And if you're constantly saying nothing, nothing, and impossible, 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 like your subconscious mind deep down is like can be holding on to the word, which is a lack word, instead of everything is possible or anything is possible, anything is possible, anything is possible, anything is possible. And if you're, it was just part of her vision. She had a statement before of being an author, and she's creating a new book, and it's really exciting. Um, but and even just saying and instead of but, and by ending it with anything is possible, you can feel that that's a higher frequency, right? You feel lighter, you feel like more open, you feel bigger, you feel it, right? Even though nothing is impossible at first glance seems like an inspiring message, it is on a lower frequency if you want to use that word. Like it is not going to actually build you up as much as saying anything is possible. So these are just the kind of things, right? Like that we can choose to notice the words that you use and how it's actually influencing you, especially the words you're using repeatedly. If you're saying them over and over and over, um, it's affecting your identity, who you think you are, how you see yourself, right? Those words really do make such a huge impact, and it influences everyone around you as well.
Yeah, I have a whole list of words, that I have chosen to replace. Sorry is one of them,
Mhm,
and not that I'm not apologetic or,
mhm,
but it makes me feel bad when I say it. It makes me feel like I am less than the person I'm saying it to, and not that that's bad either, but
mhm.
if I can say thank
You're
you,
equal.
you know?
You're both equally
Thank you.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like instead of walking in the conference room and saying, "Sorry, I'm late," "Thank you for waiting," just feel the difference. Being on a customer service call and someone says, "Oh, I'm so sorry," versus, "Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Let me delve into that and see what we can do."
Mhm,
Just feel the difference. You go,
mhm.
you're talking to someone, "Oh, sorry. Can you" Oh, and my other one's good luck. Yeah, I was at a doctor's having surgery, and the nurse said, "Well, good luck." And I looked at her and go, "I hope that I'm not up to luck on this one." You know? I hope that
Right.
this doctor is prepared and educated and, it's like, I don't want luck."
Right, let's not rely on the odds.
Yeah.
Just whatever.
So there's
Yes.
so many words, and you just pick one that makes you feel bad and start switching it up and see the joy that comes with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you made a caught briefly when I said "but" instead of "and."
Mhm,
I teach that so often. I catch people and I catch and we're all human. So, in our conversations, it's not like you're gonna become a master and never ever say one of these words ever again. And the word "and" instead of "but" is like if listeners take that away and our friends can catch on to what that small difference every time you were about to say "but," or even if you do say "but" because 'cause you're practicing, you can check and like you said, like, "Whoops, let me try that again. I'm gonna swap that with 'and.'" If you watch the amount of change in how you feel and how other people feel in the workplace, with friends, with family, it totally and even with yourself, you feel like, I would love to come, but I'm gonna be doing this other thing," instead of, "I would love to come, and I'm tied up today, so let's try it for another time." It changes the tone. It also changes but often negates the thing said before. So if you were giving a
mhm.
compliment, you know, "I love the way that you did that thing, but can you get better at this?" Basically, it negates the first thing, and they only heard the second one. Instead of, "I love the way you did that thing, and you could do even more here. What do you think?" Like, you're getting the intentions can be the same when you switch it with "and." Almost every time you could switch it with "and." There's maybe some cases where "but" will be the right word. I promise most of the time "and" will create a better result for you and
If I can't get "and" to feel right, I use "yet."
yet. Yes, that's great.
It's like,
Yeah, because there
this
are
just is
times where it
not
doesn't
feeling
quite
right.
work. Yeah.
So I also do my best to get rid of that word.
Mhm.
We are trained in our speech patterns the way we were raised, and it's just
Yeah.
automatic, and
Yes.
catch
That's why
yourself.
I slipped it just now, and I teach it all the time, and I write about
Yeah,
it.
and I love that you did it right on the spot. Like, wait, because that's what's ingraining it in you even more. It's like,
Mhm.
"Oops, not the one I wanna use. Let's move through this and use the one I feel better using."
Yeah. And even when you're with people, don't be shy to say, "Let me reframe that. I meant to say and just now." Like, even if they don't know, even if they're not working with you on the same topic, just be willing to say, "I'm practicing, I'm changing my words." And yeah, just catch it. It makes such a big difference. I honestly that I did it like TEDx talk on the power of words. Like that is the thing that I feel and I know you're so passionate about that as well. That it's such something that you can it is easy to do and also easy to not do because to your point, we're so programmed a certain way. So, but it is something that but see, I just said it again. And it is something that you have in your control. You can choose the words that you use.
and you can. And if it's tough at first, just try again. I like the way you just caught yourself in midstream twice. It's like, wait. And one of the words I like to get rid of is the word just, and I just used it.
Mhm.
But it seems to minimize your efforts. Like someone comes by and go, I just stopped by to say hi.
Mhm.
Okay, you don't want anything else? Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
like, I don't know. It seems hollow. But if you
Yeah.
go, I stopped by to say hi, hope you're having a great day. Bye. How much more powerful leaving that word out can be. And it's just,
It's
see,
like a filler.
I did it again. But it's one of those things that we're so programmed to use.
Yeah. And you know what? Actually, it's a really interesting that's an interesting example because it is likely a word that is used to like moderate our ego or how we're coming across. Like we don't want to seem too bold or pushy or so the word just stop by or just checking in. It's like I don't want to interrupt you, so I'm just just using the word just. It's like softening the
But
boldness that is true to who you really are, or with just the natural tendency to soften and dim our lights.
yeah. And it is dimming your light because how much more powerful is I stopped by to say hi. Hope you're having a great day. Gotta go.
Yeah.
So different in the way it's received.
Yeah.
Not just the way you projected it,
Yeah.
but also in the way it's perceived. And sometimes it is the word you need to use because it's just this one thing.
Yeah, and it's not and it's not the same the intention of the word isn't the same in every context.
Right.
So, in the middle of a sentence, right, it probably is used differently than it might be even at the beginning. The other word is sometimes filler words like, "I want to get better at reading," or "I wanna get better at something," or "I want more of something." Sometimes you can actually just remove those words and say, "I want to be a good reader," or "I want to create abundance, not more abundance. I want to create abundance in my life that's meaningful to me, not I want to create more abundance in my life." It depends on so there's not going to be this case in every circumstance. It's actually someone that I used to train with who's been teaching these seminars for 25 years, deeper psychology seminars where he would really try to watch people with I wanna get better at being on time. I wanna be more on time. Just say, like, "I wanna be on time," or "I am going to be on time." Like, it's just trying to step more fully into the identity of what those words are. When I say more, it's like giving me some wiggle room to I'm not ready to fully commit to being that person. I'm
Yep.
just trying to, slowly fizzle over instead of try to commit to this is who I am. This is where I'm going. It's again that boldness or fear of shining too bright or fear of failure is likely a big one because I don't want to say this thing and then not be able to follow through on it. Um, so it all comes back to identity and ego, really.
Yeah. I could talk with you about words all day because I keep triggering ones in my mind that they're not like pet peeves, but they're like, why do we do that? You know, because we're trained to.
Yeah.
But, and we have the power to overcome it. We have the power to choose our words wisely, to choose it one at a time. Like I said, I've been doing this for years and it's one word at a time. And I've mastered, I think I'm really close to mastering sorry. Just is not one of them that I'm close to mastering.
I'm pretty good with but, and I still use it sometimes, twice in this conversation. So it's interesting. When I'm super intentional, and to your point, if you're practicing one word at a time, when you're super intentional on this is the word I'm working on this month, or for this hour, you might want to pick smaller chunks of time so you can be super intentional. Then you get better at building the new habit, creating new neural pathways and becoming the way that eventually becomes the way you built that road stronger, and that's the one you usually say off first. It doesn't mean that the old pathway disappeared. So it still could show up sometimes, like it has, right, with me saying but twice in this conversation. But just the repetition of practicing one intentional word at a time to retrain your brain to habitually say the new way instead of trying to check all your language and never say all these things ever again. It's going to be very difficult to be successful because 93 to 97% of the words we say are subconscious, automatic, programmed paradigm. Right? You're not consciously thinking about it most of the time. So it is definitely easier. I love thought or that
And
suggestion.
the cool thing is if we do it in our writing,
Mhm,
we have that opportunity to think through and go, "Oh, I could make that more powerful." Uh, I think a common thing people say, "I wanted to send you an email." Okay, you are sending me an email. You know, it's how can you change that to not sound inferior?
mhm,
Like, it's like, "I'm sending you an email for blah,"
mhm,
and just take that inferiority complex that we're taught to tippy-toe in,
mhm,
and those people that walk into a room with command presence aren't tippy-toeing.
mhm. And it's the alternative of not tippy-toeing and being careful is not showing off and arrogance, right? There is a place that is confidence, that is true to who you are. And I think that's part of the fear is if I don't tippy toe and be gentle, it might appear that I'm arrogant or trying to seem better than. And what we're saying here is that there is this powerful, confident place that inspires others to step into their power too. That is not on all the way over to arrogance, and it is
Well,
not in this place
yeah, what's
of
that quote that, arrogance is trying to be better than everybody in the room, and
mm,
confidence is being okay if you're not.
yeah,
Doesn't matter.
yeah.
You
Be confident
walk
in who you
yeah.
are.
And I just think I'm not trying to be better than anybody. I just I did it again. I simply I j I want to make everybody comfortable, and walking in trying to be better than people is not making anybody else comfortable.
And also, walking in trying to be less than everyone that also does not make everyone feel comfortable. We tend to think that if I come in and be less than myself or less than everyone, then it'll make them feel better. It's not the case. It's a myth. It's being true to who you are and authentically you, confidently who you are, is what makes people feel the most comfortable. They can be themselves and you can be yourself, and it's not about comparison.
Yeah, and we're just is one of those acronyms, in your acronym, it's one letter out of the 4 that helps us bring more joy. I know everybody has heard about gratitude practices. I know everybody has heard about openness. It's those other 2 that are a little bit more quiet, the lightness and the words, but and we can do it.
Yep, exactly. The lightness is kind of a fun one. I can touch on that quickly. It's
Yeah,
what I
let's
mean
do it.
by that. There was this book. I can't recall the author. I have it over here. A small one. I've had it for like 15 or 20 years. You may have heard of it. It's called "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff," and it's all small stuff.
Mhm.
And that is sort of the essence of this lightness. And I really incorporate this playfulness, like let your inner child out, skip down the street, even if people are watching, and just the willingness to not take everything so seriously. If you know people in your life or you are the person that takes everything so seriously, even the small things, like it's just a bit exhausting. It's exhausting for that individual as well as the people around them. And it takes courage, I would say, sometimes, particularly if your tendency is not lightness and fun and playfulness. It takes courage and discomfort to start to lean into that and to start to loosen the grip. It's sort of connected with openness and say, okay, like let's take this. I can be a bit lighter on this, or let's take a moment to go play. Let's, or as a parent, just say, let's take a moment. Yes, you know what? I have a list of chores and work and all those things. And yes, I can take 20 minutes right now and let's play this little board game if you've got a child. The willingness to step out of the intensity of life, the seriousness of life, because there are a lot of serious things. There's a lot of intense things. There are a lot of challenges we're all dealing with. To be able to spend more of your day in states of lightness will make everything easier, as well as that for those all around you. Mhm.
We do tend to carry a lot of stuff on our shoulders and think about it constantly. And it's taking those moments of setting it aside, and if you can do it even longer, great. And we can start with a moment.
It is a moment. It's a moment. It's like you can give yourself permission to be dealing with bankruptcy or divorce or something significant that's heavy and serious and very lots of challenges. And you can still choose to take a moment to laugh about something and feel light about something and feel grateful about things. You don't have to live always, even in very difficult challenges. You don't have to stay in that frequency the whole entire time. You can jump up and play and laugh for a minute. You might have to cultivate it if there's a lot of heaviness, if some circumstance is challenging. It's just we have to give ourselves permission. I find a lot of the times it's like, how can I laugh when I'm going through this terrible thing? And it's the knowing that you're allowed to. You're allowed to find some moments of joy even when circumstances are difficult. You can go back and forth. You don't have to stay in one or the other. But it does, and it does take intention a lot of the time because we almost feel guilty sometimes. I don't know. Maybe it's women more so that just it's interesting.
It's not just women. We all do that. Well, I just did all. There's somebody out there that doesn't, I'm sure. But and
Many. So funny
it
when you're
is a
trying to
common.
avoid a word. It's like
It
sneak
pops in more.
totally right. This is law of attraction. Like now we're saying it. Attract. Our
It
brains are.
is. It's what you think about.
Yeah.
It's that same example that you gave earlier with the vision statement, you know? It's that word you focus on.
Mhm.
And if we use the word abundance instead of, whatever, you're
Mhm.
focusing on the right, not even right, wrong. Ah, how do
A
we
more a
always talk
more a more
perfect?
powerful, a higher
A
frequency,
higher frequency
maybe.
that helps us vibrate and be the kind of person I think we want to be. We wouldn't be here listening to this podcast if we didn't want to be in a higher state.
Mhm. Yep, exactly.
Well, Nicole, I love talking with you. You're always soul sisters. We got this. We did. Let's talk a little bit again. I know you've been on more episodes, but new people listen all the time.
Mhm.
About you, what you do. You always fascinate me, and I know you come to Utah every once in a while. And one of these days, we're going to meet up and do something besides talk on a podcast.
For sure. Yes, I am out of Toronto, but I am in Utah, uh usually about 4 or 5 times a year just because the company that I've partnered with, Elevated Worldwide, it's a coaching organization. We do a lot of programs and processes with gratitude, purpose, vision, habits, all sorts of things, but they're kind of like courses that you take, and then I, as well as a couple of others, help coach individuals through those programs, and they're currently in Saratoga Springs, Utah, the office, what used to be in Lehigh. So in the same general area. So that's where the main office is. That's why I go in there in person sometimes. I love this industry. It's high performance coaching, positive psychology. There's very different ways it's perhaps perceived or described, personal and professional development. And it's just so fulfilling to do what we're doing right now, right? And we're just both have studied some of this and learning and practicing these things. If you're talking to someone brand new who hasn't thought about shifting the way they see things, changing their words, having a clear vision or purpose. Like if you're speaking to someone new, and when I am in one of the coaching programs, it is so rewarding to see them light up and to start to see them shift and change the perspective and break those habitual paradigms of beliefs or thoughts or identity. Because as you shift, there's lots of different tools. We've talked about a few today. It changes your actions and then it changes your results, right? If someone, like you said, if you walked into the room and this person used to say, "Sorry, I'm late," and they would feel bad about themselves and they would use those words and they would walk in slumpish, versus walking in, first of all, they may be on time because they probably will be changing how they see things and actually should increase their likelihood of being on time. And they could walk in and say, "Thank you so much for waiting. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's get started." That will change their results in their business, in their life. Like when you change the way you see things and the way you say things. And so that's really what I do, mostly in small groups, sometimes individual. And I wrote this book to kind of capture a bunch of those concepts in one place.
Mhm.
And Audacious Joy. And I'm so excited. It's been really, really humbling to kind of see this word get out there into the world, this book get out there into the world.
That's exciting, and it's definitely going to be on my read list. I love new information, and I may have already felt or known some of it, but it just ingrains, say I did it again, it ingrains it further into your soul and helps give you more words to explain it. And so I'm very excited to read
Yes.
it. So,
Awesome. 100%. I actually love reading multiple things that do share the same concept said differently by different people, or someone wrote it 100 years ago and then someone else wrote it 20 years ago, and you can see the connections or the similarities. And it's really powerful to be able to get for those concepts to get ingrained when you do get it from multiple places. So
yeah.
that's awesome.
So, Nicole, what is that one thing, if there's nothing else I have time for this week, what should we practice?
I'm going to invite everyone to pull out your phone, find someone on your contact list who you haven't properly thanked for anything, just someone that comes to your mind, and out of the blue, even if it's someone you haven't talked to in 10 years, send them a message and say, "I was just thinking about you. I want you to know how much I appreciate you in my life. Thank you." That's in a cycle of gratitude. It's right in this level of appreciation, and then even offering it, it's essentially a sense of gratitude or generosity. I mean, and it's one of the best ways to tap into joy, by expressing appreciation. So easy to do. And
I
if you
love it.
do it right now,
I, in between meetings, we can do it. Done. Or right when you park the car before you get into the office or back to the house. Because I know podcasts are what I do in the car. Don't text while you're driving.
yes, safety first. Especially in winter.
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. Really, thank you so much for joining me again and sharing amazing message about joy, and not just joy, but audacious joy. That joy that just hits you up in the face and stays there, and it's probably really in your heart. Friend, Nicole and I are not medical or mental licensed professionals. We are here for entertainment, people that have traveled a road and found ways to make it a little lighter. I want to share what we've learned with you. Thank you for joining, and share the episode with a friend and help them have audacious joy too. Thank you.
Are you tired of waking up exhausted? You are not alone. If you're looking to take your life back, let's start with the simple step of adjusting your self-talk. Stay tuned for the next episode with your host, Lara Jane. Remember to follow the show so you don't miss a next simple step that you can use to feel more confident. And please leave an honest review.